This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Great to be back in the office again after the Farm Progress Show. Speaking of the show, I have coverage from the BASF Media Tent. Talked with Scott Kay of BASF. We also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're talking with Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. Curt, what do we see going on in the grain markets today?
Oh boy, I saw quite a bit of enthusiasm beginning of the week here. At the end of the week, threw everything at it on the negative side. Month in position squaring, first notice day, a little rain in the 10-day forecast. China's economy just kind of stagnant, just kind of blah, blah, blah. But the market held in there for the most part. 3-day weekend, real light volume. Trade will resume on Monday evening at 7 o'clock. We'll see what the weather forecast shows and see what type of other news we have. But the big thing to look forward to next week, visiting producers clear across Midwest, we're going to start to see some harvest activity. There's ideas we can get into some mid-20s or up at 20% moisture on corn, particularly. So we'll start to hear some yield results and a little bit more information on that. The other thing here next week, of course, will be the weather. Man, we're talking some triple digits in some areas. But the other two factors on the weather is the humidity is going to be relatively low and the winds are going to be fairly high. So we're going to see this harvest pick up steam maturity happen fairly quickly, as everyone knows. Tuesday afternoons, the trade's looking for about a 2 to 3% drop in that good to excellent category. So as the plant shuts down and starts to mature, hopefully not too fast, we'll see how that seasonally adjusts as we move forward in through here. The 30 to 90-day forecast came out, and it particularly showed about the next 30 days, warm and dry. As we go on further out, we'll be a little bit more of a normal situation, but that's going to be the big thing is get in the field here and it'd be like Christmas, kind of see what we have to work with. Delivery-wise, saw some fairly good wheat deliveries. We saw some oat deliveries, but the soybean complex didn't see hardly any deliveries at all. Well, zero, in fact. And so we've got the September deliveries in progress, getting that out of the way. And we transitioned from the old crop to the new crop. Thursday was the last day of the old crop marketing year, and a lot of old crop was rolled into the new crop. Technically, corn, D's corn finished down 6.5 cents for the week. The corns continue to try to hold this 480 area, continue to try to build a base in through here. Soybeans was down about 18 cents for the week. Beans gapped higher there Sunday night, and we drifted lower most of the weekend through here, and it did record a weekly price reversal to the downside. So those November beans up towards that $14. We're going to see some chart resistance in through there. The Chicago wheat down 6.5 cents. Thing about that dang wheat is it just made some new lows here. It went below the May lows, and so it just kind of continues to struggle for the most part. On the corn, though, if you look at the corn chart for the month here of August, looking at kind of the bigger picture there, we had about 4 days where the market had an outside down day. And what I mean by that is the market had a new high and was above the previous day high and below the previous day's low and closed lower. So we had 4 of those rascals here during the month of August, and it kind of signals that, man, we just can't get any giddy up and go just yet in the corn. the thing to look forward to is, I don't know if history matters anymore, but seasonally this time of year, we record some type of seasonal low and get something going to the upside. So we're more than eager waiting for that. And I think once we get into harvest here, as producers seem to be tight holders in here, we get something going. Business guys, is that same attitude seems to be that we're going to maybe, if we move anything, we'll move the beans and maybe store the corn here. There's quite a bit of carry still in the corn complex. As you look on out to the deferred contracts, bean is fairly well flat. But it's the exciting time of the year here to see what type of yield results we have after seeing this up and down weather pattern through the growing season.
And then on the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex, what action did we see there today?
Stable. We've been sideways for the last 2 months. The big thing is in the livestock sector is to hear more and more reports of that heat last go around here, that high humidity, high heat really played havoc in some areas there. We got another round of heat coming at us here, not as humid, so maybe we can get through it okay. For the week, the October fast closed down $1.20. Like I mentioned, since October, we've been sideways here since for the last 2 months. We've got support at 178, resistance at 184. So just continue to chug sideways here. Hogs wise, the October hogs closed up about 322 for the week. Kind of like the pork complex, kind of just chugging sideways in here between 78 even and up around 86 even. Hogs did record a little hook reversal to the downside here this week. So this week's high of 84.25 could be a little resistance. But Wednesday we had a big up in the hogs and good support at 79.52. So it's going to be choppy, volatile, back and forth trade. September, hopefully we'll see some new money flow into the grains and the livestock sector here to give us a little support here as we start the week here next week.
Curt, lots of great information today for those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net. How can they do that?
The neatest thing to do is just go to our website, agmarket.net, and go to the Intel tab there. That's where most of the teams, the research and information is. They've been doing a good job putting things together. Or else you can give us a call here at our Central Illinois office, 1-800-779-1515.
Great talking with you as always, Curt, and we look forward to catching up again soon.
Very good. Take care.
That again was Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. At the close, September corn up 3 3/4 at 464 3/4. December new crop up 3 1/4 at 481 1/2. September soybeans down 3 3/4 at 1356 1/4. November new crop up 1/2 cent at 1369 1/4. September soybean meal down $6 at 412.70. Soybean oil up 103 at 66.55. Chicago wheat down 5 1/2 at 567 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat down 1 even at 734 even. Kansas City hard red wheat down 6 even at 720 1/2. December oats down 6 3/4 at 486 1/2. On the Merc, October live cattle down 67 at 180.15. September feeders down 142 at 251.85. October lean hogs up 50 cents at 83.05. October pork cutout down a nickel at 93.72. Class 3 milk for September down 28 cents at 18.61. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Scott Kay of BASF. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Always great to be at these national shows, especially like the Farm Progress Show, and catch up with the ag companies and talk about what's going on within their companies, within the industry, and of course their ag technology. I talked with Scott Kay of BASF about the state of the company and some things that they're looking forward to bringing out in the future. We are here at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, talking with Scott Kay. He's the Vice President of U.S. Ag Solutions with BASF. Obviously, a lot of exciting things going on in BASF right now. Just give us a little bit of an update on just some of the things that you guys are most excited for, especially bringing here to the Farm Progress Show.
Yeah, great day here at Farm Progress. The weather couldn't be better, and the temperature's perfect outside. Those of you who have been suffering through the heat, I know we have out in North Carolina, but it's great to be here in Illinois today, Riley. And we had a great discussion here this morning talking about what's it going to take to make 100 bushels the average in soybeans.
Well, and especially, I mean, we're seeing people pushing 200 bushels on soybeans, so it's like, how can we bring that up and get that going? And, I just had a chat on some of those Xotavo lines, and we know that this was a hard year for crops in general with those drought concerns, but there's a lot of, exciting things coming out with those Xotavo soybeans, and sounds like they handled the drought pretty well.
Yeah, we had a couple experts from BASF join a farmer that just pretty local here to this area, about an hour north of here. And we posed the question to him, what's it going to take to get that 100 bushels? And, what's nice is he had a list of areas where he's thinking about improving. And I think for your listeners, that is a great way to start planning for 2024 and beyond, is to start thinking about what are those areas that I could improve. He had a couple areas where he thought would be good, is to continue to look for placement, variety selection based on his farm and his soil types. They were variable in different parts of his farm depending on where they're at, and he thought that had been crucial. We're using a new selection tool from Xarvio, a seed selection tool, and for our Xotavo soybeans, and he said he already experienced a 10 bushel increase just over the last 2 or 3 years, and so he was a real advocate and wanted to continue to do more. What's our population, all those sorts of things. And to include, should I be using a biological on my soybeans? Should I, as a seed treatment, should I be using the full treatment of as a seed treatment versus maybe a middle-of-the-road selection? And then I think managing weeds from weed resistance was still top of mind. Using the fungicide on all of his acres had already started to show promise and was something he counted on each year for yield. And then I think, how do we manage after that R3 application? And so I think a lot of different ideas and really a great discussion.
Right, and then, there's a lot of farmers that, the big focus they'll have is on the post-emergence application and all that, but there's a lot that goes in before then, and I want to touch on what you mentioned is, there are a lot of people looking at seed, and using the technology to compare seed where they'd want to even different seeds for different areas, because that seed selection process can be so vital, and sometimes it's overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's going to hold one of the secrets to getting that 100 bushels is that proper placement. And again, if you work with your local retailer and a BASF seed agronomist, our seed selection tool that we'll launch this year is going to be a great tool to have on a grower's side as he starts that quest for 100 bushels. I think the other piece that we heard loud and clear from the grower was that collecting data, but not just have it, but actually make it available and use it is going to be critical. Whether you start to move into the seed selection process, there's going to be more questions around your soil type and what your history has been. I think also we talked about One Smart Sprayer from BASF and the BASF Bosch partnership that is going on to bring that the spray technology where you can see that weed and then that's when the sprayer applies. How are we going to manage that in the future? And so we had a pretty robust discussion about that as well.
Right, and it's one of those things that, you can have all the data that you want and have all these fancy numbers, but if you don't have a digestible way to break it down and put it to action, that's one of the things that those farmers really need. And, obviously through BASF, they have that option.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key was being committed to getting it, obtaining it, and then to utilizing it. And, I think the other thing, too, is that with all technology, BASF's belief is, like with the smart sprayer, the One Smart Sprayer technology, agronomy is so important. And also having the technology think through some of the problems you might have. And so you'll see a fantastic camera technology, but we have a lot of lights on there because there's a lot of shadows that would have you miss the weed. But having Xarvio technology to go with it, that you're so you can drive agronomic solutions, whether that's applications beyond your first one. So a predictive modeling that happens around giving you alerts to when to apply a fungicide, what chemistry should I use in terms of a residual with outlook that requires less rainfall. Where would that have been a good spot to use this past year or for coming applications, because a lot of in-season applications get less rainfall, but I think the future is going to hold that we're going to need more residuals used during that time.
Now, when we're talking Xarvio, are we looking at out of the field data management, or are we looking in the cab, seeing that live?
It's going to be both, and so I think that's going to be the key to success. There is that it's going to have to work with you at all times.
Yeah, and I think especially when you have that in-cab version of it, it's one thing to look at a map and see all of the spots where it went through, but that can kind of get disconnected from the field that you're in. But when the farmer's in the field, you see on the map where exactly these things happening. You're putting it from the map to where the farm is. I feel like it just makes that connection even stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we got to adapt, because not every farmer has that tool today, and so we want to make sure we can adapt it to other practices a farmer has. So it's going to be a fun time, and but I think innovation is what BASF is all about. Every day your listeners wake up, BASF is investing some $3 million into research and development, or 11 cents out of every dollar would be another way to look at it. And so we're highly committed. Over the next 5 years, we'll launch 25 new products. And so BASF's highly committed. We see what Mother Nature is up to. Just in the past 10 years, Mother Nature has caused our herbicide applications to nearly double in cost. And it's to control largely tall water hemp. But I think to manage a spectrum that's changing with growers' practices. We talk about more cover crops and more no-till. Well, Mother Nature's adapting through that whole time. And, you saw clearly on the way in here that water hemp's here to stay, because nearly every field or every other field, you could look across and see the water hemp sticking its head up above the soybeans.
All right, Scott, lots of great information today. Of those new products coming up, anything that our viewers and listeners should really keep their eyes out for?
Yeah, Certain herbicide from BASF, the first of its kind, solid core encapsulation. And it's going to allow us a pre-post flexibility on chemistry the farmer and the field have never used post on corn. And so if you think about what Mother Nature's up to, emerging later, waiting you out the whole season, now we have technology to match. And so to match that application and length of control for the season. And so we're really excited about launching Certain, and we'll see people in the fields this coming fall to talk more about that.
Right, of course, having that wide window, like you said with Mother Nature, if it's too wet to get out in the field, you got later planting, you got earlier planting, you need to have that option to be able to get out there when Mother Nature dictates it, because we don't get to decide when that opportunity is.
Not at all. I think the other thing that's going to be more common this coming year is that a lot of farmers didn't like the interest rates that they saw from a borrowing standpoint, and we had a lot of uptick in John Deere finance this past year. Saved farmers some $40 million in farm finance. And so what we see this coming year is that we'll have another offering from John Deere Finance. Our interest rate this coming year will be 1.9. Same thing, you borrowed early and through harvest terms. And we see that being a trend that's going to only tick up as well. And BASF would like to save some farmers some money and continue to make that offering.
All right, Scott, lots of great information today. Keeping innovation at the forefront. Thanks for taking the time to visit. And, of course, if anybody would like to get in touch again, how would they like to do that?
Yeah, I think from a BASF perspective, really like you to go to your ag retailer and ask about BASF products and BASF technology, and certainly ask for your local BASF rep.
That, again, was Scott Kay of BASF. As for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, this cooler weather has been much nicer recently, and definitely a great reprieve from the super hot weather that we had immediately following the Iowa State Fair. Now, of course, the being summer temperatures and the way Mother Nature usually works, we do get that hot weather coming back to the forecast pretty soon. Next week won't be nearly as hot as it was right after the state fair, but of course, being summer and almost into fall, we have to have that one last push of really hot weather, of course. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, that warmer weather is returning. Today we have sunny and breezy conditions, and it's getting warmer again as those highs range from the mid to upper 80s. Tonight will be clear and pleasant with lows ranging from the upper 50s to mid 60s. Tomorrow turning much hotter again with those highs ranging from the low to mid 90s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be sunny with a high of 95. Shenandoah sunny and 93. Des Moines sunny and hot with a high of 96. Waterloo much of the same, sunny and 96. Albia sunny and 93. And Clinton will see sunny skies with a high around 91. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. You can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcasts on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.